Some people become fake without realizing it. They smile differently, talk differently, act differently, depending on who's around them. And the strange part, most people never notice, because fake people rarely expose themselves immediately. They reveal themselves slowly, through patterns. At first, everything looks normal, everything feels real, everything feels genuine. But over time, small cracks begin appearing, tiny inconsistencies, tiny changes, tiny details. Most people completely ignore. And once you understand these patterns, you'll start noticing fake people everywhere. Human beings naturally change behavior, depending on the situation. People act differently with family, differently with friends, and differently at work. That is normal. Adaptation is normal, performance is different. Fake behavior is not adaptation. Fake behavior is performance. Because performance has one goal: control perception. Fake people constantly ask themselves, how do I look? What should I say? How can I be liked? How can I impress people? Instead of asking, how can I be honest? How can I be real? How can I be myself? That difference changes everything. Imagine meeting someone new. They compliment you constantly, agree with everything you say, laugh at every joke, act extremely supportive. At first, it feels amazing. You think, this person really likes me. This person understands me. This person is different. But slowly, small things begin changing. Fake people struggle with consistency because maintaining a performance requires energy, and eventually, people become tired. Stories change, behavior changes, energy changes, priorities change. Someone who praised you yesterday may secretly compete with you tomorrow. Someone who constantly supports you publicly may disappear privately. Someone who acts loyal around you may speak differently around others. Not because they suddenly changed, because eventually their real behavior begins leaking through. And this is where emotionally aware people notice something interesting. Words can lie, but patterns rarely do. Because behavior repeats itself, always. Someone who constantly gossips will eventually gossip about you. Someone who constantly needs attention will eventually create drama. Someone who constantly changes personality will eventually reveal inconsistency. Patterns always leave clues. Think about someone who only appears when they need something. When they need support, they call. When they need help, they text. When they need attention, they suddenly become close again. But when you need something, they disappear. At first, people ignore this because they focus on isolated moments. But fake people become visible when you stop looking at moments and start looking at patterns. Because one action means very little, repeated actions mean everything. There is another strange thing fake people do. They become different people around different groups. Around successful people, they act ambitious. Around confident people, they act confident. Around emotional people, they act emotional. Because they are not expressing identity, they are collecting approval. They mirror for acceptance. Now, mirroring itself is normal. Everyone does it a little. But fake people mirror excessively because they are trying to become whatever gains attention fastest. And eventually, their real personality becomes difficult to find. This is why fake people often seem confusing. One day they seem genuine. The next day they seem distant. One day they seem caring. The next day they seem cold. Not because they enjoy hurting people, because performance creates instability. And instability eventually becomes visible. Imagine wearing a mask every day, pretending every day, changing behavior every day, trying to impress people every day. Eventually, it becomes exhausting because human beings were never designed to perform forever. That is why masks eventually become heavy, and heavy things eventually fall. Masks become too heavy. Fake people do not always expose themselves quickly. Sometimes it takes months, sometimes years. But repetition slowly reveals truth, because reality always leaks out. The way someone treats weaker people, the way someone behaves during conflict, the way someone reacts when they stop benefiting from you, the way someone acts when nobody important is watching. That is where character appears. Not when life is comfortable, not when attention is available, not when everything feels easy. Character becomes visible when there is nothing to gain. Remember this carefully. Anyone can act differently for a moment. Anyone can wear a mask for a season. But nobody performs forever. Patterns reveal truth, because eventually behavior becomes stronger than words, actions become louder than promises, and repetition becomes stronger than performance. So pay attention, not to isolated moments, not to beautiful words, not to perfect images. Pay attention to patterns, because the truth about people rarely appears immediately. It appears quietly, through repetition. And the question is, what patterns have you been ignoring?